What's up, guys? Today I thought I'd give you guys the first look at my Star Model BM pistol. Now, I'm not going to go into the history on this firearm, and I'm not going to go over all the specs, but I will say this is a 1911 influence gun, but it's not a 1911. It has some differences. There's no grip safety. The trigger hinges. On a 1911, it goes straight back. On this one, it hinges, and it disassembles different, which I actually think the disassembly or the field strip of this gun is superior to a 1911. You lock the slide back on the safety back here. Once it's like that, the slide release will pop right out. And then once you release the slide comes right off the frame. And then the recoil spring is captive, so you don't have to worry about things flying off. You know, on a regular 1911, if you're not watching when you move that bushing, that recoil spring can go flying. This one, it's captive. Then you take the bushing out, similar to a 1911, and just like a 1911, the barrel comes out of the slide. And it's very similar to a 1911. I mean, the barrel looks right, but there are differences. If you guys would like to see a full video on the differences between this and a 1911, let me know, and I can make a detailed video and, to be honest, learn as I go. I've learned a couple of the differences, but I think there would be more as I start taking it apart. All right, so we put it back on the frame, and I always line up the hole right here. Put the slide release in, pull the slide back and lock into that recess, and then the slide release goes right in. And the handgun is back together. So this firearm has a phenomenal trigger. It's 3 pounds, and yeah, it hinges, but it is such a comfortable trigger. I really do like that they were able to keep a beautiful trigger on this handgun. The only problem is I found myself dry firing it a lot, and I ended up breaking the firing pin. It wasn't that big of a deal. I was able to get a reproduction firing pin for it from Numeric, and it works just fine. So it wasn't that big of a deal, but I will say that it wasn't a cheap part. It was actually 20 bucks just for that firing pin. But lesson learned. So I wouldn't recommend dry firing this handgun. It's not a part that you want to replace. And that's another thing that's different than a 1911 is to take that firing pin out. There's no back plate back here. You have to take the sight off, and then it exposes the pin that holds the safety, or not the safety, holds the firing pin in place. So it wasn't hard, but now I have to re-sight it in because I had to take the rear sight off of it. Now, one thing I did leave off the intro is it does have a mag safety. I have disabled it. As you can see, there's no magazine in the gun, but it was very easy to modify it. It just popped right out actually once I took the grips off. And I just found it annoying. As you can see, it is taken out, so it works. Basically all it did was block the trigger bar from coming back when the magazine was not in the gun. So I did take that out, and I think it's a lot nicer now since the magazines can actually fall out of the gun. Before it would get hung up on that mag safety. Oh yeah, and it has a little magazine safety that prohibits it from falling freely. Now, I've spent a lot of time saying that the gun is different than a 1911, but if you're used to a 1911, you're going to feel right at home. The slide release, the safety, the mag release, you're used to a 1911, you're going to feel right at home on this handgun. The sights on this gun aren't actually that bad. I will say that they're large. The only thing is it could use a little bit of paint because black on black can be lost really easily, but I actually think that it stands out pretty well compared to some surplus handguns. The grips are plastic and they kind of make the gun look cheap. Shout out to Armed ASMR. Anyways, as you can hear, it's just cheap plastic. I got some wood ones ordered, but it may be a little bit before they get here. They say 1 to 3 weeks before they'll ship it out. So it may be a while before I get the grips for it, but it'll be worth it because it looks so much nicer on the gun than this. I got some rosewoods coming. So when I got this handgun, it came in this box. I also bought it from Classic Firearms. And I'm a little bit disappointed because it didn't come with the manual. It didn't come with really anything. By the way, there's the mag safety. I'm storing it in this box. But it didn't come with the cleaning rod or the manual. I'm a little disappointed by that, but I can't say that I'm going to cry about it. But it's a nice looking box, so I'm going to keep this around. But I am a little bit disappointed it didn't come with everything. And when I unboxed it, which by the way, if you like unboxing videos, check me out on Facebook. It's I Love Shooting Shit just on Facebook. I put videos like unboxings on there. I don't tend to put them on YouTube, but if you like unboxing videos, there's one up there. But my first impressions when I took this thing out of the box is, wow, the tolerances are really loose. I mean, the slide moves like crazy on this gun. But I did pay $189, which, funny story, I bought it, just got home, and then looked at my email and found out they're going for $179. Seriously? I could have saved $10 just waiting a week, but you know. Interesting. So before I get into the issues I've had with this handgun, I just wanted to let you know that I am considering refinishing this gun. I thought about re-bluing it. I've not blued a handgun before, and I've seen some processes online that I found intriguing, and I found this is probably a good firearm to try it out on. So I'm thinking about re-bluing it, and I also got those rosewood grips coming, so I think this gun can clean up nicely. I've seen a lot of videos of people who've refinished these handguns, and it looks sharp. So I will be doing that in the future. Stay tuned for that video. All right, let's talk about some of the issues I've had with this handgun. So I actually think some of the issues are caused by the magazine. The magazine, the bullets in it like to do a nosedive, and they'll hit the feed ramp differently. Also, the feed ramp was really rough when I first saw it. Actually, I put my finger over it and it had a texture to it. So I polished it, gave it a smooth finish, and I haven't had any feeding issues since then. It just doesn't usually want to feed the first round. So I've already fixed it a little bit at the very least. Also, I started to have some extraction issues. Now, I've seen other YouTubers have the same issues, so I don't know if it's the gun, but I was shooting some cheap aluminum ammunition from Federal through it, so I don't know if that's the reason, but I don't know. I wanted to test some cheap ammunition. Before I forget, I was shooting some PPU brass through it, some hollow points from PPU, some Tula, which it did not seem to like the Tula, which, you know, come to expect. It's cheaper ammunition. It didn't have a lot of issues. It just, loading the Tula into the magazine was kind of hard. It just scraped against the magazine, and then when you fed it, it just, it did not feel smooth at all. I mean, it's cheap ammunition. You have to come to expect that, but I wanted to see how it would perform. If I'm going to have an issue with a particular ammunition, it's usually steel cased. It had no problem setting off the primers though. And then the last one's always the hardest. But it doesn't load near as bad as the steel. I do like this gun. I will say it gives you a little bit of a hammer bite back here. I was starting to get bruising from it. Actually, it was drawing blood when I was shooting more than 300 rounds through it. So. And this gun is pretty accurate. I keep forgetting to document the groupings. I don't know, it's just, I'm so focused on filming the gun that I forget to film what the gun is shooting. So anyways, I need to watch that in future videos. And when I do a updated video with it refinished, I'll definitely get the target in the frame. But anyways, I really do like the way it feels in my hands. Like I said, I think the hammer bite, because it's biting me back here, I think that's a little bit uncomfortable. But the trigger is phenomenal. I'm used to a 1911, so the grip feels pretty decent to me. I wish it had more of a beaver's tail so that it wouldn't give me a hammer bite, but whatever. Loading the magazine's really easy until the last couple rounds. I don't know what more I can say about this handgun. I really do like it. And for the price, 180 bucks, well, 189. It was a really good price for me, and I don't regret it. And I think this gun is going to clean up really nicely. Weird. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff coming up in the future, and I'm always interested in hearing what you'd like to see in future videos.